Sports fans, good afternoon. Welcome to Full Count, Sports Memo's MLB betting coverage show. We come to you live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be covering baseball with some of the best cappers, analysts, columnists, and sports bettors on the planet. We'll be giving out free picks on several games for today's card. Plenty of time for you to get down on those picks. I'm your host, world champion handicapper in Las Vegas's biggest daily sports bettor, Joe D'Amico, joining me today, giving out today's winners. We got an all-star cast. We've got Kevin Thomas and Dr. Chuck. Good afternoon, guys. Happy Friday to you both.
Same to you. Thank you.
Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday. Now, I know just prior to going live a moment ago, Kevin informed me there is some bad weather throughout some parts of the East Coast. We'll try to, no pun intended, weather the storm, and hopefully if we have any of those games, I know one of my best bet is on the East Coast. We'll deal with that later. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Sports fans, we're going to be covering 3 roundtable games. Each one of us will be giving our angles on those games, and then the most exciting part of the show, our individual best bets. So without any further ado, our first roundtable game today, the Mariners at the Red Sox. Currently, Boston minus $120, total of 9. Let's go to KT, Kevin Thomas, the Philly fanatic. Let's get his take on the Mariners Red Sox. Kevin, take it away.
Yeah, I liked the Mariners yesterday, and the Boston Red Sox bats actually showed up, and I think that's like 4 or 5 days in a row now. So the Mariners and the Red Sox, you're gonna get a mixed bag of bolts here because both of them have great starting pitching today. The Mariners, though, on the other hand, are not scoring as many runs as the Red Sox have been doing. What I like here is I actually like the Reds. I like the Red Sox at minus 120, but then that's like a red flag. Why are we looking at why is it just 120 after last night's debacle? Tons of runs scored there. I'm looking at the pitchers here. And this Red Sox scored, 8 runs after the 6th inning? So I'm going to go ahead and take the Mariners for the first 5 just because the Red Sox bats the Red Sox for a whole game minus 120, but I think the Mariners will first 5 innings cover that spread.
The Philly fanatic himself, Kevin Thomas, good-looking son of a gun. All over the Sports Memo leaderboard says, take the M's in the first 5. Good breakdown, Kevin, as usual. I know you're weathering a storm over in your neck of the woods. So if we lose you or we have some technical issues, or perhaps I just don't like what you're saying, I'll just cut you off. We'll bring you back later.
It is plus 120 for the first 5, so you're gonna get plus value there.
So Kevin's saying value, M's first 5 plus $120. I shared the screen with this gentleman this morning. I can't say gentleman, he's a doctor. With the doctor himself this morning, Dr. Chuck, who's always brings it, man. Great technical analyst. You know, we had a lot of fun on the First Family Show this morning. Perhaps we can do what we did yesterday on the First Family Show and on this show. I believe yesterday on both shows, I know the First Family Show, we went 4-0. I believe all the best bets on the MLB Full Count Show yesterday all won. So we've got a hard act to follow, but I think this panel can do it. Let's go to the doctor. He's making a house call. He's going to remedy all your sports betting situation ailments. And Dr. Chuck, Mariners, Red Sox, take it away, buddy.
I think Kevin nailed it in regards to what is this? You know, so like Kevin said, he liked the Mariners. I didn't end up picking a side, but I wasn't going to fade George Kirby, that's for sure, because I think that he is the real deal. I mean, Trevor Story turned out to be a buzzsaw last night, and in the wake of that, so he's 4 for 4. He hits 3 home runs. They go for a dozen. And then we wake up the next morning and the Red Sox are barely favored and the total's 8.5. So, I mean, it's been bet up to 9 now. And I like where Kevin's thinking with Robbie Ray on the mound. The Red Sox numbers against righties now because of yesterday, in addition to it's been a good week, are gaudy. And so, you know, if a righty were to follow Robbie Ray, you wouldn't want to be on the M's, like Kevin said. I think as contrarian as it is to go M's period like he did with the first 5, I think the under is where I'd look now. You're getting 9. Doesn't make any sense. You know, almost double this amount of runs last night in the series opener here. And people aren't going to look at it and think that it's an incredibly better pitching matchup because I don't think people are paying attention to Robbie Ray. I don't think if you asked them who won the Cy Young last year in the AL, they'd have any idea if you just asked someone on the street. And I think you're getting a lot of value on an under, maybe even under first 5 here, where maybe you can find an out with a 5 flat, not just a 4.5. But yeah, if I was going to pick a side, I'm not taking the Red Sox because I don't understand why they're begging you to take them after Trevor Story waking up last night. I think they know something, but I'd put a little bit on that under if I was picking a side in this game.
Sports fans, there's 3 great doctors in history. There's Dr. J, Dr. Seuss, and Dr. Chuck. And I love
those
Dr.
3.
Chuck. The only 3. That's it. All the rest. Where are you going to go? Kevorkian, Kildare? We're done. Sports fans, I'm going to tell you, a great technical analyst Dr. Chuck is. He's doing some great work over at SportsMemo. This is Kevin Thomas. He says under first 5. You know, guys, I want to tell you, over the last few weeks, as I don't feel I have to occupy every minute of free space on this show hosting it, I got a chance to step back and listen to a lot more of all our panelists' angles. And over the last few weeks, I've heard Jesse, I heard the First Lady, Dion D'Amico, heard John Ryan, heard Eric Proley, heard Kevin, heard Dr. Chuck, so many times say, well, something looks too good to be true, I'm staying away. It seems to be kind of that mode so far in this baseball season. You know, we got about almost a quarter of the regular season in the books, Kevin and Dr. Chuck. Is that something that you do, Kevin? Let me ask you. You know, if you're looking at something, and, you know, obviously in baseball, you got to look at the night before or the last few games and whatnot. Is that something you look for, Kevin, where something looks too good to be true, and then you got to second guess, go, wait a minute, looks too good to be true, it has to be too good to be true, Kevin?
I start with the pitchers. So, you know, he touched on Robbie Ray, but we didn't even talk about Michael Wacha. I think he's given up 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. So I love the under the first 5 because both pitchers should last 5. I would lean towards the over after 5 just because the bullpens haven't been too great for either team. And the Mariners aren't hitting the ball great either. I mean, they have like 17 runs, I think, in 24. So I do look at that, but I start with the pitchers. Mm-hmm. And if it looks like a really close matchup and then I see that line like that, especially after a win, I wouldn't touch it or I would fade it. I would definitely take the Mariners for like plus 100 or whatever it's at, just because they're begging it. So someone knows something.
Good stuff, Kevin. Sports fans, for those of you who did not watch the First Family show this morning, and shame on you for not watching it, Dr. Chuck was on the show. He's one of our panelists. He did a great job, as usual, Doc. We did speak. I know you want to touch base on this, but you can touch base on this. I want to ask you. Dr. Chuck and I spoke this morning about, you know, how the game has changed. And Kevin, I look at pitchers. I start with starting pitchers as well. But Dr. Chuck, you and I touched this morning, and I'd like you to talk about that and then get to your point about this, about what Kevin said, about how the game has changed quite a bit. You know, not so long ago, we had openers, middle relievers, and closers. Now we see guys, even this year, that are pitching a perfect or a no-hitter and getting yanked because of a pitch count. We see certain teams that don't have a real closer. You and I touch base on this, that go with 5 or 6 pitches throughout the game. Can you touch base on your angle on that and then make your point about what Kevin said also?
With the constant moving parts, it's not easy, you know, like Kevin was saying. So there's the good, too good to be true stuff, but then there's teams that have an ever-changing philosophy. Some of the stuff in this CBA might, you know, change a little bit next year if more things happen with not just the shift moving, but that's going to affect every move that every pitcher and every manager makes. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's unfortunate we've gotten to a point where you could probably list on 5 fingers the number of guys that have the say. You know, I don't even know if Max, we found out earlier that Clayton doesn't have the say. And I would have thought that before this season that Kershaw was one of the guys that have the say, but maybe there isn't even 5 guys in the entire league that get to decide how long they go. And that didn't used to be the case. You know, like Joe and I were discussing this morning, there used to be guys you didn't, I mean, Jack Morris was pitching a complete game unless he gave up 12 runs. You know, I mean, we're not, you know, Greg, you brought up Greg Maddux. He didn't tax his arm the way some of these guys do. He was pitching the full game unless him and Bobby Cox, you know, had a bet that he couldn't go 8 innings or something like that. You know, I mean, it didn't, things have changed. It isn't any longer where Pettit goes 6 and Stanton comes in, and then Rivera's coming in for the ninth, and everything is set up. I discussed the Reds. The Reds don't have a closer. Nobody, you could, if I gave you 5 names and told you who's the guy that's going to pitch the ninth inning tonight, there'd be no way you could put any money on that. And so it's just so many different moving parts. Kevin brought it up. If Ray and Waka go 5, he'd want to be out because there's no clue as to what it looks like after that, what Scott Service and Alex Cora have in mind, what they're going to do. And so it could be a debacle. And that's what's great about having the first 5 for total runs, spread, money line. It's a great option to have because of the way pitching landscape has changed.
There you go. Good stuff, Kevin. Good stuff, Dr. Chuck. Our second of 3 round table games today. The Athletics at the Angels, currently LA. $1.85 total, 7.5. Kevin Thomas, give us your take. A's, Angels, please.
You look at who Paul Blackburn just faced. His last start was the Angels. He's 4-0, but we're talking about the Oakland A's. They're horrible overall. The Angels, we know they have one of the best lineups, I think, in the AL. They're up there with the Yankees, the murderer's row of baseball. But then, he got a no decision against the Angels, but the team got the win. I mean, that's one of the few wins the A's got this year. So this is a toss-up for me. I would definitely look at the first 5 innings and taking the A's for plus 155 because the Angels are going to start Chase. I'm not going to butcher his name. Silseth. He has 1 start. He looked pretty good in his 1 start, but that's 1 start. I mean, I hate taking a pitcher that just faced the team because that's basically like they're getting to see him again. So, as the innings go on, batters start to dial in. But it's always hard for a rookie to come in and duplicate what he did his first start. And pressure's all on that kid. So first 5 innings, I would lean towards the A's plus 155.
Sports fans, KT, Kevin Thomas, who's doing some wonderful work over at SportsMemo, all over the leaderboards, 3-day, 7-day, 30-day. He says lean on the A's first 5 plus the $1.55. Lots of value. Dr. Chuck and I think I talked about this game this morning on the First Family Show, but I want to get to Dr. Chuck's angle on this game. I'm interested to see what he has. Doc, A's, Angels.
Yeah, you brought it up a little bit this morning with Silseth. It was phenomenal. These 2 guys both have, Kevin brought it up again, both of these pitchers are facing the lineup they just faced. And it's not common for me to want to take one of the highest totals and bet the under and take one of the lower totals and bet the over. That's really not how I roll with most of my plays, but that's kind of how I'm looking at this one. I don't ever like a situation where the same pitcher faces the same lineup twice in a row, especially when they hammered them. And specifically in Silseth's point of view, a couple of things that I look at specifically are batting average when balls in play and left on base rate, of which he was insane. His batting average on balls in play against the A's was .071, and that's on the same scale as batting average. And he left any base runner that he had, which was only a couple, he stranded. And it's just, that's his debut. Blackburn's been amazing, but as Kevin said, it only takes a bloop and a blast on accident or a walk and a blast against Ohtani and Trout and Taylor Ward and Marsh and Rendon, and it's just a murderer's row to face twice in a week. And so you're getting 7.5 here. It's a little bit juiced to the over, but I mean, is anybody thinking it's a world-beating type game if the Angels win this 5-3 and you still cover going over 7.5? So I definitely like the full game over in this, as well as, I think they're going to skip a couple passes. It's hard to imagine that Silseth, even against the A's, goes another 6 innings of one hit ball.
Sports fans, the doctor has made a house call over for 7.5. A little sprinkle on another play. It's amazing that we're not just giving you, I'm talking about Kevin, Dr. Chuck, and the other great contributors to this MLB Full Count Show, give you a play or a take on the game. They're giving you some other in-game stuff, some props, this, that, and the other thing. I am going to chime in on this game, sports fans, if I may. Guys, I gave this free winner out on the First Family Show this morning. I want to give it out again. My friends, I'm not going to proclaim I think the Oakland A's have a chance at the American League pennant or even to win the West. But I am going to proclaim that I don't think the Los Angeles Angels have a shot at either. Say that 10 times quick. While I think there is a lot of talent on this team and arguably one of the best overall players in baseball and one of the most exciting players in baseball, guys, I'm talking about Trout and Ohtani, I am going to tell you that the American League West wholeheartedly, in my opinion, belongs to the Houston Astros. While the Angels, as I mentioned, have some exciting and talented players, I don't think they're playing great baseball despite their second-place standing. They just got swept 3 games by the Rangers, and today they face a team that has done well against them. Both Kevin and Dr. Chuck touched base on it. That's right. The A's are 4-0 the last 4 meetings at Angel Stadium, and going back a bit, 35-17 the last 52 overall meetings. In Game 1, we see Oakland's ace getting the start. Paul Blackburn has been outstanding this season. The team has won 6 of its 7 starts, 4-0 with a 1.67 ERA, striking out 29, only walking 5 in 37.2. He has allowed more than 2 runs in any appearance just once this season, and in 2 career starts versus LA, 1-0 with a 0.68 ERA. I know Silseth, and you're right, Kevin, that's a crazy name. Silseth looked good against Oakland a week ago, but in all sincerity, the A's weren't hitting that day, and LA only posted 2 runs against Jeffries. Jeffries, who has lost 7 straight turns. Going against Blackburn is a whole different monster here, and I feel he's going to hamstring the Angels lineup while Oakland does some damage against Silseth early. A lot of value here, taking Oaktown plus $1.50 or so in the first 5 innings while Blackburn is still on the mound. Take the A's in the first 5. That's my take on this game, sports fans. We still have another round table game, and we've got our best bet segment. So in our third of 3 round table games, wow, San Diego at San Francisco. San Fran, $1.25. 7.5 over, minus $1.15. Kevin Thomas, take it away.
Yeah, this is a battle here. You know, these 2 teams are chasing the Dodgers, and the Giants are actually chasing the Padres, 2 games behind them. So I expect short leashes. I expect great pitching, but I'm looking at this total of 7.5. And if you look in May, the last 6 of the 8 games at home for the Giants have gone over the total. This is going to have to be, the Padres, they just put up 3 against the Phillies. It was a stink fest, a boring game, no points. I expect them to be up for this game, and I expect the Giants hitters to be up for this game too. I mean, you look at what Jake Junis is nothing great, and then Sean Manaea, he's given up some runs in some innings. I mean, he used to be a stud, and I don't know what's happened to him, maybe velocity or whatever, but he's getting hit too. So I think this is going to go over to 7.5. That's the only way I would lean on this game, because another shady, you would think the Giants at home would win this, but it's just another shady line there, minus 125. I would lean toward the Padres if I had a gun pointing to my head, but I would definitely go on the over 7.5 all day.
KT, small lean on the Padres, but over 7.5. Another great breakdown, Kevin. You can certainly tell whether you're a novice in this industry or a long-time sports bettor that you bet games. Your angles are really in-depth and very good. Got something for everybody out there, Kevin Thomas does. Guys, go over to Sports Memo. Use some of those great customer appreciation discounts to have. Go buy KT. You'll buy him today, and you'll thank me tomorrow. Let's go to Dr. Chuck. Doc, Padres at Giants. Tell me your take, handsome.
Kevin, man, this is a good show, guys. I like this because I don't want it to be a thing where I'm up against, especially if I have something already put out. So real quick, before we get to it, unfortunately, guys, you mentioned it at the outset of the show. I had a 10-unit play out. It was on the Mets. That game's not going to happen. Sorry to everybody that had that. Go get my all access package. I still have a bunch of action today. Ton of system fits on the Mets tonight off that walk-off win. The polar bear in polar weather. Unfortunately, this game's being snowed out, not rained out, and that's freaking in the middle of May. But yeah, Kevin and I talk a lot about this on the shows, that he's really good at following the money. He doesn't talk a lot about it, but this is one of my idols in this business is the smoking man, Dave Koken, and he, especially in basketball, just kind of takes his notes and throws them out when there's this big of a, he's a truster of the bookmakers, not a truster of the big money, and thinks the bookmakers have an edge and know a little bit more what they're doing than the big money that comes in that has it to waste. And, Kevin probably knows this. The Giants were favored at like minus 105. It opened at Padres favored at some spots, and now they're all the way to $1.25. That's one of those throw out the analysis spots Why did the line reek in the first place? Take the Padres, fade the money that moved toward Jacob Junis. And on top of all that, the Giants have the worst VMI of the day. It's -22. If Sean Manaea throws any fastballs, they can't hit it. And that's just, both these teams have a day off. The line reeks, and I'd be on the Padres hard.
Dr. Chuck says, if so, on the Padres. Guys, this is why I love Sports Memo and love doing the shows, because the best collection of cappers anywhere on the planet are at Sports Memo, but they're not cookie cutouts of one another. You're going to get different angles, different points of view. And I know we've got somebody tailor-made for you, so go over to Sports Memo after the show. Use some of this customer appreciation discounts. Go buy Dr. Chuck. Another great breakdown again, as usual. Doc. Now, guys, don't go anywhere. The most exciting part of the show, our individual best bet segment. Let's take this game down. We're going to start with Kevin Thomas. I know he's got a game he wants to tell everybody about, but he also wants to tell you what he's got going on tonight, maybe perhaps over the weekend that he's excited about. KT, take it away.
Yeah, go over and check me out over at Sports Memo. I got my Friday Fiesta, where you get my top NBA, my MLB, which is usually always a dog, and my NHL investment. Yesterday, I amber turned the going 1 and 2, so I'm going to jump back big here, hopefully. Or you can buy each of them individually; they're pretty cheap price. Or check out all the great cappers over at Sports Memo. I mean, I'm starting to follow these guys. I love Dr. Chuck. He's actually got me going on these first 5 innings, and there's tons of value there if you follow the pitchers and stuff. And in this game, that's what we're doing. We're following the pitcher. We got Tyreek Skubal. He's starting for the Detroit Tigers tonight. And he's pitched like over 6+ innings his last 3 games. And he's gone 19 innings, 12 hits, 2 earned runs in 19 innings. I just like the Tigers here. The Indians, not seeing a lot of runs from them. I think they had a total of 7 runs in their last couple of games, which is for an average of 2.33 a game. So I don't think Cleveland's going to score a lot of runs here. And I think the Tigers can take this one for the -110.
Sports fans, Kevin Thomas says take the Tigers -110 for his best bet. And once again, guys, go over to Sports Memo. Follow Kevin Thomas. He's all over. The leaderboard's 3,730. He's making money. For everyone that follows him, follow him. You'll make money too. Let's go to the doctor. The doctor is in. Dr. Chuck's best bet. I'm anxious to see what it is, Doc.
Of course, as Kevin said, it will be a first 5 play. But real quick, just to Kevin's point, he's on. I love that he's on the first 5. I think it's the best bet in all of sports at the moment. And one of the spots that I like that he didn't even mention, and I don't know if this is a way that he's attacking, but I've already put out the Tigers' first 5 spot, and it's a specific system where they're -120 for the first 5 and dogs for the game. And you don't have to, don't threat, as I say with my first 5s, where they're dogs for the game and favorites in the first 5. Don't threaten me with a good time. But we're looking at Trevor Rogers here for the Fish, and he's getting plus money against Uncle Charlie. And I probably exhaustively fade Charlie Morton. Unfortunately, it hasn't always worked out, but he's specifically terrible on the road. And Trevor Rogers faced the same team in Atlanta, pitched great, pitched even better than his newspaper numbers. And I just think you're getting a lot of value. The Braves, not as good against left-handed pitching as they are against right-handed pitching. It's hard to back a Marlins offense. Another thing that Joe and I talked about on the First Family Show this morning, not a great offense. Put an offense, anything in the vicinity of what the Yankees would have at AAA for the Marlins with the best rotation in sports, and you're winning the NL East. Unfortunately, that's not how they're constructed. They're all pitching, and so it's hard for Trevor Rogers and the bullpen to go out there and know that if Acuna hits a 2-run homer, that might be it. I think he can keep them at bay. I think this is one of those 2-1, 1-0 ceilings, and I think Uncle Charlie gives up a couple of runs. Maybe Aguilar or Chisholm get him to go deep. And I think, at worst, we're pushing here at a 1-1 game. So I just love the value on the Marlins first 5.
First 5 from Dr. Chuck. Sports fans, when you're sick, you don't take out your own appendix. You find a great doctor. And at Sports Memo, we got the best sports betting doctor on the planet, Dr. Chuck. Go follow him. You will love it today, and you'll thank me tomorrow. Sports fans, I am going to chime in on the best bet segment. So because I'm vain, I'm going to go to the solo shot again. Guys, before I give you my free play for this best bet segment, I want to go into what I did last night, what I got going on tonight in the NBA. I predicted a big, that's three bigs, big win last night in the NBA. And that's just what everyone got that followed me, as we all got paid with the Celtics devouring the Heat 127-102. Well, today's NBA playoffs release, even stronger, even higher rated. That's why I'm releasing a 5% play in the Western Conference Finals Game 2 matchup between the Mavericks and the Warriors. My 5 and 10% basketball releases, 13-6 the last 19. Overall, 39-19. Get this big 5% winner tonight and get paid. I've got it posted for like $10 over at SportsMemo right now. Now, guys, my best bet, let's go to a big MLB National League matchup. Sports fans, with nearly a quarter of the regular season in the books, each league certainly has at least one standout team. The American League, they've got the Yankees. I'm representing. They got the Yankees. No argument there. National League has the Dodgers. I know they've won 5-0, including a 4-game sweep of the Diamondbacks. However, there's always a however. However, they're traveling here to Citizens Bank Park, and in all sincerity, a little luster comes off their shine when they take it on the road. Not only that, but today's opponent is not intimidated by them at all. The Phillies took 3 of 4 in the earlier series about a week ago. Going back a little further to last season, they've taken 4 of the last 5 overall meetings. Philly starter Ranger Suarez, I love his name. I'm going to name my next one Ranger D'Amico. Ranger Suarez has done quite well for his team this season. They've won 6 of his 7 starts in 2022. He sports a 4-1 mark, 3.72 ERA on the campaign. Guys, in his and in 5 career appearances, including 2 starts against LA, 3-1 with a 3.07 ERA. It is unclear as of this show if Bryce Harper is going to be available today. But guys, playing the Phillies is a big step up in class from playing the Diamondbacks. Julio Urias hasn't been that successful for the team this season, as they have lost 5 of his 8 starts. He comes off his poorest outing of the campaign, and I feel for the first half of this game, the Phillies will shine. They're 9-3 the last 12 versus the NL West, 6-2 the last 8 at home versus lefties, and 4-1 the last 5 following the loss. I'm taking Philly in the first 5. Guys, Dr. Chuck and Kevin Thomas has made a believer out of me with these first 5. I've won 3 in a row with them. I'm going to win this one. Let's bring everybody back on, get some final thoughts and comments. Kevin Thomas, it's Friday, TGIF. You've got some games on the board. You got a great weekend. What do you want to tell everybody before we sign off?
I'm hoping that Phillies game gets played, but it don't sound like it's gonna. It's coming down hard. Other than that, I mean, I'm expecting a good weekend. So, I mean, jump on and follow. I mean, you get some great deals over at SportsMemo where you can lock in a good even 3-day pass, 7-day pass, all the great things going on. But should be nice weather. They're calling for 100 degrees here come tomorrow. So should be a great time for some ball. Maybe go out to some of the AAA affiliates near me in Allentown and watch the Hogs play. So it'll be nice.
There you go, Kevin Thomas. Dr. Chuck, before we sign off, closing thoughts or comments?
Yeah, go check out. We have 5 other plays already up for baseball tonight. So it's not just unfortunately our snow out game, but looking, we've also been, hey, if we're doing the teeter-totter with the NBA, we were money on Wednesday, got hammered last night, so we're back to the black tonight. So check out our NBA as well.
My friends, be sure to tune in every weekday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, to this show, Full Count, SportsMemo's MLB betting coverage show, coming to you live with special guests each and every day. This is Joe D'Amico on behalf of SportsMemo. Kevin, Dr. Chuck, good luck and have a winning day.